the fifth topic we're going to discuss today, which is the hate entrepreneurialism. That's in the last 5-6 years, very shadowy people being funded by even more shadowy people who come out and they find ways of attacking society by using labels, by using tropes, by saying things that are controversial and then arguing that it's free speech, by saying things that deeply offend other people, in order to get a huge reaction, in order to create a side, an ideological partisanship, if you like, which then, of course, creates groups of people who hit back. So you create this conflict within society that you know that you're doing. I'm sure it's absolutely pre-planned. But these people will willingly do it, and they'll keep doing it. Partially, I think, because they actually believe in what they're saying, but also because it's funding their lifestyle. Absolutely filthy lucre. They get in the big house, they get in the trips around the world, they're getting the attention, which they probably have seriously lacked in their previous existences. And it's now very much at the heart of what we understand Western societies to be about now, these hate entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I've been calling them that for many years now. That's how I think they should be seen and defined. Hate entrepreneurs, people making money from spewing hate. And it's a very deliberate thing that they're doing because they want to get rich. Yeah, they probably love the adulation in a Trump narcissistic way. And they probably have racist views that they feel they want to share. But mostly, I think it's about they've cottoned on to the fact that in today's modern digital age, they can raise a lot of funds from the public, but also particularly from extreme right-wing organisations in America and wealthy individuals in America that want to promote a racist right-wing philosophy. That they can get a lot of funds from those people and organisations. So yeah, I mean, obvious examples are Stephen Yaxley Lennon, otherwise known as Tommy Robinson, named himself after a previous Luton football hooligan, known as Tommy Five Names because he's changed his name about 5 times now. But I always call him Stephen Yaxley Lennon because that's his real name. And he's probably been one of the worst hate entrepreneurs that we've seen. We've had Katie Hopkins, of course, more recently Lawrence Fox, who's combined a number of different sort of right-wing things into his what he's saying. But I view them all as hate entrepreneurs, people that have made a vast amount of money from racist and or gullible people in terms of who is sending them their money.
Of course, it's not just racism, is it, Tom? Of course, it's not just racism. You know, if it was just racism, then we could sort of cocoon them a little bit, but we can't cocoon them. Everybody's fair game that they perceive to be from minority groups, gypsy travellers, the disabled, transsexuals, gay people. You know, it just goes on and on and on. They just think that they can be vile and horrid towards these people, and what they do by doing it is they get tens, hundreds of thousands of followers on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. And what
does that say about us?
They have a philosophy of hate. You know, you only have to listen to, Katie Hopkins, for example, spewing hatred. She got stung. I'd recommend viewers look it up. There's sort of a wonderful 10-minute film of some fairly young people who stung her. They invited her to speak. And I won't say too much about it, but they invited her to speak at and receive an award at a sort of fake event. It's hilarious.
In the Czech Republic. It wasn't even on the doorstep. Yeah, she had to fly to the Czech Republic. It's on doorstep, so please check it out.
Yeah, do check it out. It's truly hilarious. But I mean, one of the shocking parts of it was that, you know, it shows a bit of her her sort of speech before before they kind of revealed that they were stinging her, that they were essentially extracting the Michael from her. They you know, they show a bit of her kind of award acceptance speech, and it's just vile spewing of hatred. It's disgusting and despicable. But these people have realised they can make a huge amount of money from that. You know, actually Lennon, you know, has £1 million house. He raised over £2 million in donations, I think just in 1 year in 2018. And much of that was from the United States, but also from individual donors here.
Can I just interrupt here as well?
And he's just...
Can I just interrupt here? I was just going to say as well, he keeps now, in recent times, claiming that he hasn't got any money because obviously he's fighting these legal cases. But what that does, of course, it means that all his followers are throwing cash at him. Cash that they can barely do without. Do you know what I mean? They're throwing in it that Stephen Yaxley Lennon, Tommy Robinson, whatever he wanted to call himself, and he's living the life of Riley.
Yeah, I mean, he recently filed for bankruptcy in March of this year. He's actually filed for bankruptcy despite that vast amount of money coming into him and his organisation. And of course, he's fallen out with some of his, you know, far-right friends who are involved with his so-called business, because some of them have now accused him of taking large chunks of money from that business, from donations from his supporters, and spending it on cocaine and prostitutes. So he's had a big falling out with them. But you know, he's a violent criminal, and he's been you know, found guilty and sentenced to for a whole variety of crimes, ranging from violence, football violence, hooliganism, violence against a police officer when there was an altercation in public with his girlfriend, and the police arrived and he assaulted a police officer. He's been in prison for passport fraud, trying to enter America on a false passport, for mortgage fraud, and he admitted the attempt to supply cocaine, and of course, you know, very publicly for contempt of court, as well, for breaching a court order.
Can I just say as well, in the United States, on the three strikes and out rule, he'd now be serving a lifetime imprisonment. Yeah,
he would. Extraordinary that, you know, he appealed to Trump to let him come to America as an immigrant, someone that rails against immigrants all the time. He pleaded for America to let him in. Hopkins, of course, you know, has a similar long history of you know, inciting hatred, again, particularly against Muslims. And it was fascinating after the 2019 election, when incidentally both Hopkins and Yaxley Lennon claimed to have joined the Conservative Party. They claimed they were supporting Boris Johnson, claimed to have joined the Conservative Party, a claim that the Conservatives have thoroughly rejected. And I think it's very unlikely that either of them were allowed to join. But after the election, the Conservative peer, the Muslim Conservative peer, Baroness Varsi, tweeted, "My party must start healing its relationship with British Muslims." And Hopkins replied, tweeted, "Your party? Hold on a minute, sister. I think you'll find it's our party now. Britain has Boris and a blue-collar army. Nationalism is back. British people first." Wow. I mean, that, to me, that was the equivalent of Katie Hopkins being Ray Winston in Scum, stood there with a pool ball in a sock, saying, "I'm the daddy now," scowling at Baroness Varsi. "I'm the daddy now. You know, we racist nationalists have taken over your Conservative Party. Who are you?" Utterly disgusting and despicable. Yeah. And of course, now we've got the latest one, which is Lawrence Fox, slightly different from the other two, but he's kind of combining racism with anti-lockdown shizzle. I don't know how else to describe it. Nonsense. And of course, he stood as for Mayor of London. I think he got a couple of % of the vote. Sadly, he just got a little bit more than Count Binface we were all cheering for Count Binface to get more votes than the racist Lawrence Fox. But
he still had to pay the deposit because he didn't get enough votes.
yes, yeah. I mean, it is a worry, and it's a worry that, you know, we've got these hate entrepreneurs. We've got people leading our countries in terms of, you know, Trump, who was president, Johnson here, you know, deciding to deliberately spew racism, racist hatred, and particularly Islamophobic racist hate in order to make money or gain power. And it's a massive problem for us as a human species. You know, it's a problem for humanity, unless we all en masse stand up and say, we're not standing for this. It's not acceptable. You know, we have a past full of racism, hate, and war, and we need to move towards love and peace and protecting our planet. Unless vast numbers of people say that and reject this filth of racism, then we're in trouble.